Welcome to our Week 7 update. It's May 13th through May 19th, so we're moving right along. This is the week we transitioned out of the Outer Banks and into the Chesapeake.
So we got up very early on Monday. We knew it was going to be a long trip up the Virginia Cut. One of the problems is it's long, but it's also got at the end some bridges and there's the lock. So we allocated about 2 hours,
2 hours, that's
just
right.
so we could get through that. So we knew it was possible to be a long day and we wanted to get in early.
And it was so cold. It was 49 degrees when we left. So,
oh gosh, yeah.
Again, another very cold morning.
Steam coming up off of
Yeah,
the
that
wall.
was actually pretty though when we were leaving the little anchorage. And also there were cute little birds in the nests in the buoys that it was early in the morning, so everyone was just barely waking up. It was kind of fun to watch the birds in the nest.
It's an interesting river because it was pretty narrow. The channel was very narrow. If you stayed in it, it was very deep, which is nice. Better than some of the ones we had, which weren't very deep. But yeah, so if you stayed in the channel, it was very deep, but it was a narrow channel. And right next to you, you could see very shallow water. So just had to pay attention the whole time.
And it felt like a long stop at the end because the railroad bridges were down, and so we were having to wait. Usually they stay up, but the trains were going by, so I think we did that twice.
Yeah, it reminded me of waiting in Sanford when I was a kid. The train went by every day on the way to school.
We did get to go successfully through our first locks. That was fun, and I got to put a Closer to Find sticker on the pole. There were lots of stickers on all the poles, so I thought, hey,
we met a couple there who then ended up...
Yep, they were sailing to Massachusetts, and when we anchored in Norfolk, they were anchored kind of close to us, so that was interesting as well. So we did make it all the way to Norfolk, and we anchored on the Portsmouth side near a marina that we were hoping to get in the next day. We weren't positive yet, but we thought we had a shot. So put the anchor down, dinghied in, kind of explored Portsmouth just a little. We had talked to a guy who was on the dock, and he told us a few places to walk around. So we saw a couple of shops and got some coffee, and we were able to talk to the marina and get the reservation for the next day, so that was exciting. Came back out to the boat because you had a meeting in the afternoon on Tuesday. And then after the meeting, we were relaxing and kind of sitting around. And so we had been at this dock now for over 24 hours. John realized that we had moved a lot. So we go up to check and see, and the boat had really... The anchor gave way.
Yeah, we dragged quite a bit. While I was in a meeting, we were dragging. I didn't realize it. As soon as the meeting was over, I just went up to look around, and I realized, wow, we're almost in the channel.
Which was scary, because that is our first time, so we were trying to figure out what went wrong. Did we not put enough chain? Is it mud versus sand? There were a lot of what-ifs, and there have been a lot of what-ifs since. But when you pulled the anchor up, there was some kind of cloth wrapped up in it.
It did. It had something that fouled it, so maybe that was it. I don't know. But we put a little more chain out. We went 5-1 instead of 4-1.
And you watched it through the night, unfortunately. Didn't sleep much. But luckily, we knew we were going to the marina.
Oh, yeah. I didn't trust that place ever again.
No. So the sand, he wasn't good with that. We did go into the marina on Wednesday. We had spent a little time in the morning just doing stuff around the boat. I don't know. But we started at the fuel dock. So we got fuel. We got a pump out. And then they told us where our slip was. So we moved over to the slip and got a bunch of other stuff done. We did some chores. We did laundry. You can only do in the afternoon. Oh, we took hot showers. Long hot showers because we're plugged into electricity and we know we can refill water. So we kind of felt like dressed up because I felt clean shower. So we went first to the upstairs, the little marina had a restaurant, and we were having a cocktail and talking to the bartender, deciding where we were going to have dinner. And he suggested a pizza place in the little town in Portsmouth. So we did walk back into town and had Detroit-style pizza. It was huge. The waitress did think we were a little crazy ordering 2 pizzas, but we did want leftovers, so...
Even I had leftovers.
You're right. It was very
that
big.
Isn't true.
That's right. The plan was to leave the next day off the dock. We were hoping to get up real early, get some groceries, and then get going, but we...
I don't know what we did. We didn't get going
real early.
real early.
For his birthday.
Oh, yeah, I guess we just were goofing off.
Yeah, we were relaxing in the morning, and we didn't get going until almost like 8:30 or 9. And
which sounds
we knew
early.
It was going to be a long walk, but we had to be off the dock at 11. This was our first big, huge provisions to the store. We brought our wagon.
The store was 1.6 miles away, which sounded not too bad.
Right, from the marina, but who knows? So to get to the parking lot of the marina is a part of a walk as well. So over all day, we walked over 4 miles. trying to get the groceries. So when we got all the way there, realized we really have to rush through this and get back to get off the dock.
We were either going to have to get an Uber back or something. We were out of time.
Yeah, and even that would have been rushed.
Yeah, we would have been rushed. So we just decided to stay another day, which turned out to be a good idea.
Yeah.
It was very relaxing.
Oh, it was.
We had an easy walk back then. We didn't have to rush.
And then we had the time to find the storage and separate the groceries, and we freeze some things.
We find when we go to the store, we buy way more than what we had intended. That barely fits in the wagon.
It was crowded. I had 2 bags on my shoulders as well as the whole wagon was full.
Yeah.
But we don't know when we're going to be at the next store. And we have the storage space. The extra freezer has made it so nice. And the storage that we've created just for all the pantry stuff has been easy.
Oh, yeah, we got ice cream too, didn't we?
We did. In the afternoon, you did some work because we were tired from the walk, but we were able to just get some stuff done at home. I actually finished the sewing project with the little elastics and the buttons. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun day.
So, yeah.
Just chilling.
And then the next morning, we got a couple errands done on the boat, using up more water because we knew we were going to fill it one last time. So we did a few more cleaning things and did get off the dock by 11 that day.
Yeah.
That was on Friday. It was still chilly and cold and gray, but we were heading up officially into the Chesapeake at this point.
We had to go up through Norfolk. There was a lot of marine traffic. Even though it was very gray, there was no like people out sailing, but there was a lot of people working. Naval ships and barges and cargo ships, and they really all come together. And I have AIS, but it only helps so much because there's just a lot going on. But it was fun. It actually was interesting to do that.
If I remember the names of all the boats from that childhood game, You Sunk My Battleship, it totally looks like that. All those boats look like those little plastic things we played with when we were children, but they're big and they're out in the water.
We did make it out to the Chesapeake, and it was unfortunately blowing right in our face, pretty strong and choppy, so we ended up having to motor our first trip up the Chesapeake.
Yeah. And I wimped out for sure because it was just cold and gray and nothing fun to look at after the early stages of those boats or ships. So I came downstairs and read. It was much warmer and cozy.
But I
abandoned him.
We planned on it being a short day anyways. We just did a short hop up to Chisholm, nice anchorage. We didn't go into town or anything. I'm not even sure there was a town.
Yeah.
It was still very cold. The people on shore were taunting us with their fireplaces. We could see the smoke coming out.
Yeah, because it had been gray and just wet, like being in the cloud all day. We were planning to grill because we had bought new fresh stuff when we had just gone to the grocery store, so we were excited to cook some of that stuff. I didn't put hamburgers in the freezer. We had planned it. We had the corn on the cob, so we were hoping it would work out, and it did clear enough.
It actually turned out to be a night.
Nice
the sun did come out,
yeah.
And it was nice.
So we grilled, we relaxed that night, and good thing because Saturday was wet and gray and raining, which we planned for because you were going to do a work day. We had skipped a few days in the Portsmouth area when we were exploring, knowing that you were going to work. It was rainy and it was wet.
You pretty much know what day I'm going to work. Just look at the weather forecast. If it's raining, it's like, oh yeah, he's working. What day is he working next week? Well, it's going to be raining.
They schedule the meetings around the rain, which they should, or definitely not around, this is a great sailing day. So
right.
Luckily, I had purchased some paper napkins that I liked the design of when we were in Beaufort, planning to do a craft, and I thought today's the day to do it. So I did do my whole little decoupage, or whatever it's called, with covering the napkin with this glue and Mod Podge, and had fun with it all day because I wanted to cut the pattern correctly and really spend a couple hours, and it was the perfect day to do it because it was rainy and wet anyways.
It actually felt pretty good. I was coding, you were doing that. It was like
fun.
Work environment.
Yeah. I had a big craft mess going on with my glue, but it was fun. I haven't been able to do a project like that in a little while. We actually enjoyed the wet gray day.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, and the next morning when we woke up on Sunday, it was still kind of wet and gray, but we were heading out, and we had a goal of trying to get there in the afternoon, just a teeny bit further up the Chesapeake to a place called Deltaville. You had just picked it out because we were trying to find a spot that my niece Julia, who lives in Richmond, could drive from to meet us. So we were looking at all these little creeks and all these little places, and we found a spot that had a marina.
Yeah, we wanted to meet her in Norfolk, and it really wasn't too bad of a drive, but she was busy. And then the next place, she was working. And then
so she had texted
she said,
to say,
I'm going to be off. And so they were trying to find a place. But the lucky thing is we were pretty much the same distance away each place we picked.
For her to drive.
Yeah,
it just
for her
was
to
either
drive.
a little lower, straight across, or a teeny bit higher.
So it was no big deal.
Yeah, so we had an
switching.
afternoon goal of around 4 because she and her boyfriend Javi were coming to meet us from Richmond, and worked out perfect. We anchored, we dinghied in. We were just figuring out where to put the dinghy. We had parked it at one side, and that was more for a private use or something. Some of the people who live at the marina let us know where it was, so you let me off, and you went back out. It kind of was weaving around. In the amount of time I was off, I was up in the parking lot, and they showed up. So
I didn't
it
even
actually
get out
was-
of the boat, did I?
No, I don't. Well, maybe you
Out
did
of
to
the
give
dinghy.
hugs.
Oh,
Yes, I
yeah,
think you
maybe.
did. So we got them. It was perfect. We came out to the boat and we had some appetizers, and then we had dinner. We had some cocktails. We actually hung the green chair for
Yeah,
the
it was
first
in
time.
this, we were looking
the
for
sun
sun.
came out, and it really just was a nice, really pretty afternoon. So that was fun. And then we were able to FaceTime Sam and Mary, which Julia had not told them she was coming. So that was kind of fun because she talked to her dad and then said, "I want you to say hi to someone." And I popped my head in, and he was pretty surprised. And then we called, or tried to call, Grandma, but that was a whole fiasco because we hadn't told her that Julia was coming either. We wanted to surprise everyone. We tried to WhatsApp call her. We tried to Facebook message, video call her. Nothing was working. I knew
All our
she'd
technology failed.
be... Yeah. Well, I knew she would be at the condo, so she was Sunday afternoon having dinner with Diane and David, so I called Uncle David, and they were so excited to talk to me that they put me on speakerphone, and I was like, no, I want you to just give Mom a message. Please have her answer the phone. So it was just this whole kind of comedy of errors with all of us, and Diane's got me on speaker now, and I'm trying not to have Julia talk because we wanted her to pop in the video. So the whole thing, I just kept saying, please have Mom answer the phone. Javi did get a good taste of Grandma and Aunt Diane and Uncle David and all the fun technology issues because they did finally answer the phone, but they couldn't get it on video at first. So we did in the end.
They did it all.
We did it all. And we got to visit and chat with them, and that was great fun. So it was a fun surprise. It was our first visitor for a while, and it was good to have Julia on the boat. Nice way to end the week.
The thing about this week is we really didn't sail at all. We motored up Long River. We motored out to Chesapeake, motored several times in the Chesapeake. So luckily, before this, I guess it was the day before we left, I'd changed the oil because we had already put 100 hours on the engine. Every 100 hours, I've been planning to change the oil, which is a thing now is, do I have enough oil filters for that? So
Which is what we've searched a couple stores.
Every time we go to a place, I'm looking for an oil filter because it's an old engine. Looking forward to sailing again because we didn't get to sail at all this week, just motor.
All right, that's week 7.